More now on the reaction to the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy by federal immigration officers in Minnesota. Now, video footage of the moments leading up to his death contradict claims that it was done in self-defense. In fact, this video might be disturbing to some, but as CNN has analyzed, there is a battle there going on between those ICE officers. They are hitting him with pepper spray, and in the ensuing melee, it was determined that Mr. Preddy did have a gun that he was lawfully entitled to carry. Now, Alex Preddy's possession of that firearm is now a matter and a subject of much dispute. FBI Director Kash Patel sparked a backlash for claiming Preddy violated gun laws.
You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence.
I'm joined by the chairman of the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, Bryan Strawser. He is an advocate for the right to possess and to bear arms in the United States. I will add, it is a constitutional right. I do want to start with Mr. Patel's comments there. I mean, he's basically saying that the Constitution doesn't matter. Is he wrong?
He is completely wrong on the facts here. Minnesota law does not prohibit the lawful carry of a firearm with a permit to carry. Here in Minnesota, it doesn't matter if you're carrying multiple magazines or even multiple firearms. All of that is legal under Minnesota law.
And Minnesota officials have said that he was a licensed gun carrier, was registered, and had done nothing wrong. Can you tell me here what's at stake for gun owners right now at this hour in Minnesota? Because I suspect that what happened is making many of them nervous. I mean, conceal and carry rights here in the United States, they have those in almost every state in some form. I mean, what are lawful gun owners in Minnesota thinking about this now?
I mean, it's important to note that under Supreme Court precedent from just a few years ago, you have the right to bear arms in public places in the United States. We've been able to do that in Minnesota for over 20 years. In fact, the majority of states now don't even require a permit. They have what we call constitutional carry, the ability to carry a firearm even without a permit. You know, what we hear from our members and supporters and others in the community is that they're concerned that suddenly we have federal officials stating that it's not lawful to do something that they know is lawful to do here in Minnesota.
And that would be a realistic concern at this point. Do you believe that this could spark a renewed debate on gun rights? I mean, lawful gun owners have guns because they believe it makes them safer, right? The federal government now is proving that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of what we've seen here in Minnesota over the last 72 hours since this tragedy is a number of folks, even on the left, have come out and made some public statements about the right to keep and bear arms. Former Congressman Dean Phillips of Minnesota, who just left Congress just recently in a prior election, stated that he used to roll his eyes at that comment about the right to keep and bear arms being, about the ability to resist tyranny, and that now he was starting to understand what that was really all about. I think it has changed the conversation about gun rights moving forward.
When you say it's changed the conversation, how so? Because you know that many in Congress here are watching this very closely. They have basically, the federal officials have a warning shot, if you will, pardon the pun, to gun owners all over the country that actually you may not be safe.
I think it's woken a lot of gun owners up on both sides of the political divide about what the Second Amendment means and about the importance of that, no matter which party controls the federal government, controls the presidency, that the Second Amendment is for everyone. And I think we're seeing more of that in this conversation over the last couple of days.
Where do you want this to go next? I mean, you and I are having a conversation about it, but do you think something should be done legally? And that would mean, right, an investigation and perhaps some action against the ICE officers themselves, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what we called for in our statement Saturday afternoon was for a independent thorough investigation between local, state, and federal agencies. Obviously, there's some dispute and even litigation right now between Minnesota and the federal government over how to handle that investigation. But I think it's important for folks to have something that, from an investigative standpoint, that is independent and that we can all trust as a part of this investigation. We've also called for a recognition that, you know, when you're engaged in protected First Amendment activities, even while legally armed, that's still, both of those are rights that have to be protected by all levels of government.
I know you've put out a statement, but how do you correct the FBI director who seems to be misinformed?
I don't know how to correct him other than to counter that with our own statement about what the law actually says and hope that he takes action based on that.
Okay, Bryan Strawser, we've learned a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.